Hello, my name is Asker and I am currently pursuing a Doctor of Science degree from Aspen University. I would like to welcome you to this brief video on the institutional approval of research on human subjects, which is a crucial component of my doctoral program. When conducting research involving human participants, it is imperative to obtain approval from the Institutional Review Board, IRB. To conduct a study that uses non-human animals as research participants, you must receive approval from the Institutional Animal Care and Use Committee, IACUC. Must prepare a research protocol that details all aspects of the research, including the type of participants you propose to use and the procedures that will be employed in conducting the study. A detailed protocol is necessary because either the IACUC or the IRB must review the research protocol to determine if the research study is ethically acceptable. The IRB reviews research protocols to determine if humans will be treated in appropriate ways. The primary concern of the IRB is the welfare of the human participants. The IRB will review protocols to ensure that participants will provide informed consent for participation in the study and that the procedures will not harm the participants. This committee has particularly difficult decisions to make when a procedure involves the potential for harm. Some procedures, such as administering an experimental drug, have the potential for harming research participants. In such instances, the IRB must carefully consider the potential benefits that might accrue from the study relative to the risks to the participants. The IACUC is responsible for assessing research protocols to ensure that animals are treated appropriately. Their review focuses on whether the researcher intends to use methods to reduce pain and discomfort for the animals, administer sedatives or analgesics when necessary to alleviate more than momentary or slight pain, provide adequate preoperative and postoperative care for surgical procedures, and follow accepted procedures for euthanasia. To ensure the confidentiality and privacy of participants, researchers must implement certain measures such as securely storing data, utilizing anonymized identifiers, and presenting findings in aggregate form to avoid individual identification. Additionally, participants should be made aware of the steps taken to safeguard their personal information and be informed of any exceptions to confidentiality, such as reporting potential harm to oneself or others. According to Christensen et al., a pilot study involves a small number of participants and serves as a run-through of the entire experiment. Conducting pilot studies can be advantageous as they enable researchers to refine their research protocols, test data collection procedures, identify potential issues, and estimate the required sample size. Additionally, pilot studies allow researchers to evaluate the feasibility of the study design and potentially make necessary adjustments before investing significant time and resources into the main study. There are different methods of collecting data for research purposes. Surveys and questionnaires are often used to obtain self-reported information on attitudes, beliefs, opinions, and behaviors. Interviews, whether structured, semi-structured, or unstructured, can provide detailed qualitative data. Observations, on the other hand, enable researchers to observe participants in natural or controlled settings to gather information on behaviors or interactions. Experimental methods, wherein researchers manipulate variables to assess cause and effect relationships, are also commonly employed. Lastly, secondary analysis of existing data sources, such as archival records and public datasets, can provide valuable insights for certain research questions. Determining the appropriate sample size is a crucial factor in research design and requires careful consideration of numerous factors. It is imperative to ensure that the selected sample size provides adequate statistical power to identify significant effects or relationships while also being aligned with the study's objectives and limitations. To adequately test the hypothesis, you must determine the number of participants required. This decision is based on the study's design, data variability, and the statistical procedure used. The impact of study design on sample size is evident when comparing a single case and multi-participant design. In a single case design, only one sample is required, whereas in a multi-participant design, the sample size range can theoretically vary from 2 to infinity. However, having more than 2 participants is typically preferred. Define the research objectives. Clearly articulate the research objectives, research questions, or hypotheses you aim to investigate. This will guide the determination of the required sample size. Identify the target population that your research aims to generalize the findings to. The characteristics of the population, such as size and variability, can influence the sample size determination. Determine the statistical test or analysis technique you plan to use to analyze the data. Effect size refers to the magnitude of the difference or relationship you expect to observe in the study. Statistical textbooks, software packages, and online calculators often provide sample size calculation tools for different study designs and statistical tests. Consulting with a statistician or an expert in your field can also be beneficial for determining an appropriate sample size. Before starting the experiment, it is important to schedule the events accordingly. This includes outlining the environment conditions, handling procedures for animals, and their maintenance requirements. To ensure smooth execution, provide participants with clear, unambiguous, and specific instructions that are easy to understand. Conducting warm-up trials and pre-tests can also be helpful. When selecting instrumentation, it is necessary to consider the specific study being conducted and choose the appropriate apparatus. As per Christensen et al., the same apparatus can serve different purposes in different studies. Example of apparatus, instrument. Psychological assessment instruments: stethoscope, microcomputer, EEG, magnetic resonance imaging, MRI. Thank you for watching this video. Please find some references below. Have a great day.